I'm Brittany Lewis with Forbes Breaking News. Senator Ben Cardin marked Earth Day on the Senate floor Tuesday. Cardin issued a warning for his colleagues when it comes to climate change. It's time to, quote, meet the moment. He also praised the Biden administration for policies like the America the Beautiful initiative, which focuses on land conservation. The Maryland Democrat currently sits on the Senate's Environment and Public Works Committee. Let's listen in now.
Mr. President.
Senator from Maryland.
Thank you, Mr. President. As Lady Bird Johnson said, the environment is where we all meet, where we all have a mutual interest. It's one thing all of us share. This quote from when she served as First Lady of the United States during President Lyndon B. Johnson's time in office from 1963 to 1969 still resonates with us today as we commemorate Earth Day 2022 and reflect on our relationship with nature and the world we share with each of us every day. April 22nd, 1970 marked the first annual Earth Day, which led to the formation of the United States Environmental Protection Agency, the agency that is responsible for implementing environmental regulations and standards. We have made great strides in protecting the environment and public health through the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, and the Endangered Species Act. But the data and science surrounding the harmful effects of climate change are alarming. Climate change is harming our ecosystem, waterways, forests, wildlife, and our general environment. This year's Sustainable Development Goals theme and call to action is invest in our planet. The question for climate action is no longer if or when, but how much if we want to have a healthy, habitable Earth. Strong policies that protect our water resources, fisheries, and wildlife and address the challenges of climate change are a top priority of mine in my role as a member of the Senate Committee on Environment and Public Works. I applaud President Biden for setting forth ambitious but attainable climate-friendly goals driven by science to help preserve the health and safety of our planet and the public. I applaud President Biden's executive actions in January of 2021 to reverse steps President Trump took that weakened federal protections under the Endangered Species Act. And I applaud President Biden's commitment to conserving 30% of America's lands and oceans by 2030, also known as the America the Beautiful initiative. With the understanding that we need to meet the moment on climate change and preserve our planet, Congress passed the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, which President Biden signed into law last November. This historic legislation served as a significant down payment on our future as we seek to strengthen resiliency and mitigation measures against flooding and sea level rise, shift towards greener, cleaner energy and technology, and form meaningful habits to clean up the world around us by recycling, composing, and disposing of waste products properly. The threat of sea level rise and warm temperature is already detrimental to our coastlines and ecosystems, especially along the Chesapeake Bay. With numerous and successful restoration efforts underway, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act authorizes an additional $238 million for the Chesapeake Bay program to make even bigger reductions in nutrient pollution to improve water quality in the surrounding tributaries. In partnership with local jurisdictions, stakeholders, and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act will deliver $37.5 million in federal funding for the Mid-Chesapeake Bay Island Ecosystem Restoration Project. The purpose of the project is to rebuild the declining James and Barren Islands in Dorchester County and provide a substantial increase of habitat for a variety of fish and wildlife species by repurposing dredged material from the shipping channels from the Port of Baltimore. This is beneficial use of dredged material to keep our channels at the necessary depth for commerce, but do it in a way that restores our environment. Wetlands provide natural flood control solutions as climate change brings increasingly frequent and severe weather events. We only have one planet, which is why every decision and every failure to act matters. I would like to thank our federal workforce this Earth Day for its efforts to maximize this window for action on climate and environmental justice. The Biden administration has directed each federal agency to take strong action when it comes to dealing with our climate and environmental justice. Many civil servants are working around the clock to promulgate rules, strategy documents, and much, much more. For example, White House officials this month announced equity action plans for more than 90 federal agencies designed to combat systemic barriers to opportunities in underserved communities. Each day of COP26 UN Climate Change Conference in Glasgow explored a new topic. Our Senate delegation had an opportunity to attend on the day that was devoted towards Nature Day. I mention that because our nature depends upon us dealing with the climate agenda. I would just call to my colleagues' attention the series that is hosted by former President Barack Obama, Our Great National Parks. Take a look at how important it is in preserving our environment for the species around us, which affects not only their ability to live, but our ability to live. The month of April represents the opportunity to celebrate other related environmental and nature-focused holidays, such as Arbor Day, which falls on April 29th this year. My home state commemorated Maryland Arbor Day at the beginning of the month on April the 9th. This year, we celebrate the 150th anniversary of Arbor Day. The goal of Arbor Day is to celebrate nature within our communities by organizing tree planting or trash and litter cleanups. As President Franklin Delano Roosevelt remarked, a nation that destroys its soil destroys itself. Forests are the lungs of our land, purifying the air and giving fresh strength to our people. The Bipartisan Infrastructure Law also provides $275 million grants funding for the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Post-Consumer Materials Management Infrastructure Grant Program, which the Save Our Seas 2.0 Act established. This program will help prevent plastic waste from entering our environment in the first place. The program will provide grants to states to improve local waste management systems, including municipal recycling programs, and to improve post-consumer material management and infrastructure to reduce plastic waste in our waterways and the oceans, ultimately protecting our planet. I agree with Paul Hawkins, who said this in a commencement address at the University of Portland in 2009. At present, we are stealing the future, selling it in the present, and calling it gross domestic product. We can justify as easily have an economy that is based on healing the future instead of stealing it. We can either create assets for the future or take the assets of the future. One is called restoration, the other is called exploitation. And whenever we exploit the earth, we exploit people and cause untold suffering. Working for the earth is not a way to get rich, it is a way to be rich. Protecting our planet is a collective and ongoing effort. While we still have much to do, I am encouraged by the legislative and administrative progress we have made so far. I urge my colleagues to take the next step and pass the Build Back Better Act, transformative legislation on a clean energy economy. This Earth Day, let us heed Paul Hawkins' comments. Working for the earth is not a way to get rich, it's a way to be rich.